got his free education program at the time, a lot of us will probably be on the streets. Will probably be on the streets. So this is an opportunity to say thank you to him through you. All right. I know you're well aware of the legacies, the pressure, the sort of the legacies of Baba puts on you. The expectations would always be high. Now that you're in governance, because once anyone hears the name Jakande, what comes to mind is integrity, hard work, performance, outstanding performance.
Selfless service.
Selfless service. All right. How much pressure, in your own words, tell us how much pressure does Baba's legacies put on you?
Well, first, let me start by thanking you as well, welcoming you, and also to let you know it's also a privilege to have you here. It's also it's a thing of joy that I can see I'm talking to a product, from Baba. Because like we always say, people always say that Baba's products are not always biological children. Of course. Baba's father had a lot of children. Because if we have through public service, established institutions, and systems that have to build up people, in different various fields, putting all these things together, I think is actually a great fit.
Yeah.
So I'm glad and I'm happy to witness some of these good dates while I was here. Having said that, you also were sending me more like a message to show appreciation to him. I would say that in showing appreciation to Baba, I think the greatest gift or the greatest thing we can show appreciation to show that, well, we actually appreciate what he has done. You understand? It's for us as people to collectively, come together, and start to give back what we have gotten from it in all areas of life. If somebody in his own wisdom has decided that his path or his chosen path to follow is that of service to the people, being selfless, put all his attributes together, you left one that was very key and fundamental, which is contentment, right? Because you see, you can't give if you are greedy. Baba was very content, and I think that was a guiding principle behind his success. Because you see, when you want to deliver service to people, right, you can't think about yourself. The people must come first. It's a responsibility, that you have taken upon yourself, to deliver certain goods. If you want to think about yourself, you stay in your private capacity. Then nobody measures you apart from your family and your stomach. But when you're going out to the public, you must put that aside and see that your measure and your scale of measure is within what you are doing to the public. You have increased, the size of what you need to give. You must also be very conscious that you are not giving people from your personal pocket. You are being entrusted with funds to how to make decisions, to create value, for the real, genuine owners of this fund. It's just like putting money in a trust fund. When you expect some form of quality of life, some form of quality of interest, right, to get to you. So you must look at things from that perspective. And I think that is exactly what Baba has done. Because one cannot bring a deposit for you expecting some certain returns. And the person comes back and he said, I'm sorry, I thought you gave me the money to go and feed my family. I'm sorry, that is all exists. So we must begin to think, and try to put things in proper perspective. So going to your question about
pressure.
the task,
Baba's legacy put on your shoulders.
Yes.
A lot of pressure.
I've tried to put a preamble, so that we can understand. Yeah, you can answer. I say from what I've said, you can now answer the question. That from trying to emulate, Baba's legacy, from you using your vantage position on who you are, being somebody that's benefited from Baba's system of governance, and somebody's now mandating you that you must also do the same. You preach that, so you look at that pressure, how it's facing you physically, what are the immediate steps, right? I mean, I can understand that your first reaction was for you to, or the first reaction for anybody, you start to be sweating in an air condition. Because when you look at, for me to be like Baba Jakande,
It's a big shoe.
I mean,
Big.
So, but we as a son and as a family, I believe that Baba made it quite easy for us, and I would say that with all sense of responsibility, that he made it quite easy for us to be able to emulate him, for us to be able to follow his path. It's easy because of his way and mode of leadership, right? Leading by example, transparent leadership. I see us as, I see us as taking the theoretical knowledge from Baba,
Follow the footsteps.
and then we see the practical in what he's doing outside. Because when some parents talk to you and say, "Oh, don't do this. This is bad. Oh, don't this. Don't do that." And fortunately or unfortunately, he happens to be a public figure, right? So everything he has demonstrated in the public space is what he has taught us in this private space. So it's easy. You understand? It's an open book. If somebody, I mean, we all understand the advantages and privileges of practical knowledge. Especially for people that are in the science classes, people that study sciences that have to do the theory of aspect of the subject. They have to go into the lab. When you go to when they teach you about how a combination of hydrogen and oxygen
Give you water.
will give you water. On paper. Then you go into the lab and they say, okay, put your hydrogen here, put this, and you guys, so it's something that is similar to that. So, and that's why I said that it make it quite easy. He didn't have to come back home and explain himself. So what you saw yesterday at the State House, was a political statement. It's different from what I've been telling you. He didn't have to. He didn't get himself. So it was quite easy. But then we can't take away the pressure, and then the lessons and what we have learned from it is to understand the fact, and the main quality of recognizing your person, which is not literally, attached to only being a German. I think it's always that is regarding to every human, right? To have a self-assessment of your person, to know who you are. Because everybody is somebody before being somebody. Right? If you're a doctor, you must have been somebody before that. If you're a senator, you must know who exactly are you. Have you identified your person? Yeah. Do you know your strengths? Do you know your weakness? So if you're not able to do a self-examination and assessment, right, it's likelihood that you might go far, it's quite very, very limited. So I think it's just a common basic.
Fantastic. I love your response. You handled that pretty well. At what point did you realize that you were going to tow Baba's life? It was with the little I knew of him. I can't imagine him. I can't picture him sitting his kids down to say, "I better follow footsteps, me, I better become politician." It doesn't fit the kind of personality we knew of him. But on your own, at what point did you realize this is the line you would follow?
So again, yes, you're right. That Baba is very liberal, and it doesn't dictate. We enjoy that liberty in various chosen field of career. Of course, it will give you a guide, give you an advice, but you have the absolute choice at the end of the day. He was liberal when it comes to religion. It should interest you that half of his children are Christian, half are Muslims, even though he's an Alaji and the wife's an Alaji. Like I said, he will give you an advice. All of us went through the Quranic schools growing up. But it gets to the point that you have the liberty to take a decision of what religion you want to go with. So, in terms of choice of decisions and all of that, it's very, very liberal. And at what point, when you say, at what point did you decide to talk Baba's life in terms of politics? I, personally, in my opinion, from experience being with Baba, I don't see politics the way it's being nurtured now. I don't see politics shouldn't be a career, right? Where people have made it as a career path, right? It should be an avenue. It should be a choice, right? Where people decide at a point that they decide to do X, Y, and Z. Just like when people try to abstain and say, no, these are politicians. All politicians are lawyers. They play dirty politics, and all of that. There's nothing like dirty politics. We have dirty people playing politics in their own dirty ways. So there are classifications. But you see, we are all just, all surrounded with all of those words, that only exist within our own space. People now are used to it, and that gives credit to where we have this voters' apathy, where people decide that this is not a game for clean and decent people. This is just for ruffians. This is for this is for that, and this little space or these few people that leave those responsibility to, right? Decides what happens to the vast majority of Nigerians. Right? So the earlier we start to look at the importance, right, of that aspect of life, the aspect of governance as a key and very crucial area to the nation's development, the better for Nigerians. And that is why you look in all our general elections, when you compare the population of voters, eligible voters, to the results that we get in all the elections, you can see there's a far cry from the total number of voters. A ridiculous percentage. And there's no way we can, get to this destination if things continue that way. When there are problems with governance, what do you expect? You have given the job of a conductor, for instance, as an example, to fly a jet. Do you understand? He's going to spend years. He's going to crash if he's even intelligent enough to even take it off.
Otherwise, don't be. You just sit back. You don't know.
Because it's about to call Oshodi, okay, Oshodi.
Exactly.
You know, and it's seen a lot of computer systems and all of that. So it's going to take a long time, you know, to even master that. So all they have to do is maybe we start to consume all the item 7 that is responsible for the pilot. And so this is really nice. So then we are stuck. You know, so we need to try to look at, because when we look at our past leaders, we start to look at that these are people that are professionals in their own rights, in their own field. Odi-Olowo was a lawyer. Jakande was a seasoned journalist. You know, that rose to the peak of his career before going to public life. But all we have now is, when you look at profile of people, when he was a former councillor, from there to House of Assembly, from there to National Senator, and then now he's now governor, then back to Senator. So we have a complete profile of people who say, oh, they are politicians. You know, and people have seen that part. You know, even in universities, when you study political science, it doesn't make you a politician. You know, but now we have the word of the street as well. It's a career now.